What a night last Saturday night at Elko Speedway. Close to 150 cars filled the pits, and race fans were thoroughly entertained all night long. Super side-by-side action coming your way next on the Valvoline Elko Race Report.
A lot of hungry people up at the concession stands at Elko Speedway last Saturday night, and one of the hungriest was sitting in his car as Steve Murgic was dialing in to a big night of racing. Hello again, race fans. Wally Shaver and Ted Ostad with you. And Ted, you got to go back quite some time, I think, to find a night where we had 4 phenomenal divisions of racing.
Yeah, the fans, I'm sure that they were thoroughly entertained last Saturday night. All 4 divisions had great side-by-side racing action. We had a couple very close finishes at the finish line that we had to rely on 3 or 4 different officials to make the call on, and just some great racing action. And best of all, the races ran so clean last Saturday night that we had the fans on the road before 10 o'clock.
I like that. Okay, we've got highlights from all 4 divisions. Tremendous highlights, so don't go away. We'll be back with the Mack Tools late models next. Today's show is brought to you by Valvoline, the #1 choice of mechanics across the Midwest. By Budweiser, race fans, this Bud's for you. By Tires Plus, low warehouse prices, fast world-class service. And Gens Ryan Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning. For all your Lennox needs, call Gens Ryan in Rosemount.
You want to know the secret to choosing a motor oil? You wait till the sun goes down. You take a ride to your local garage and then get a real close look at what the mechanic puts into his own car. Fact is, more top mechanics in America choose Valvoline over any other brand. Valvoline can help keep cars on the road for 100, 200, 300,000 miles and more. So before you buy a motor oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put into theirs. People who know use Valvoline.
Kenny Bernstein's Budweiser King Top Fuel Dragster. Who says you need wings to fly?
Shake, rattle, and roll this Saturday night. It's high-speed, action-packed NASCAR auto racing excitement. The Thunder rolls every Saturday night at the Midwest Center for Speed, Elko Speedway. 4 exciting divisions: NASCAR late models, sportsmen, Thunder cars, and bombers. Elko Speedway is located just 10 minutes south of Burnsville on Interstate 35. Feel the thunder this Saturday night at Elko Speedway. For ticket information, call the Speedway at 461-RACE.
Well, race fans, the Fast Fact proves just how competitive the NASCAR late model division is. 7 former divisional champions in the late models were competing last Saturday night. We have 3 former regional champions of the NASCAR Winston Racing Series. And if you look at all 20 competitors that were racing last Saturday in the late model division, they have 54 combined track championships behind them. That is phenomenal. Elko Speedway is not only one of the best late model divisions in the region, but also in the country, Wally. They have very competitive and talented drivers at Elko Speedway. 11-time track champion and the defending late model champ Jeff Martin put his Richard Larson Home Builders Wallstead Egan Amoco Ford Thunderbird at the top of the list once again in time trials. The heat races saw Rookie of the Year candidate Dick Muller go wire to wire for the 2nd straight week to claim heat race #1. The 2nd heat race was won by Rapid Ray Gensler as he held off the challenge from Brian Johnson. Gensler came into the first night in points with everyone chasing him, but by the end of the evening, his lead had vanished. That's partially because during the 40-lap main event's first circuit, Gensler and Dan Ryan locked together in turns 3 and 4. The accident left absolutely no room for 00 Lauren Petrash as he nailed the turn 3 wall, ending his evening. The crash also left Josh Vadnais on the sidelines and damaged the number 28 ride of Rick Austin.
With no laps completed, the officials called for a complete restart. The Frost Paint Monte Carlo of Paul Payne sat on the point, but look on the outside. Rick Keith and his Country Joe Incorporated sponsor number 30 was holding strong. Keith's team has really rounded the corner after a disastrous first season. Rick has added crew chief Tim Johnson, who hung up his helmet this past offseason. Payne was also able to secure the number 1 spot when Keith's tires got greasy. Kevin Noodleman slid up into third with Brian Johnson hot on his bumper. Climbing fast through the field was the number 25 Midwest Data Services Dodge of Mel Walen. A caution for spun John Luntke in lap 15 bunched the field together, and the side-by-side restart saw Walen elect to go outside of the leader Payne. Also taking advantage of the restart lineup procedures at Elko Speedway were Jeff Martin and Mike Tuma. The number 3 Metro Molded Parts Pontiac of Steve Murgic cut a tire during the caution that would take him out of contention for the victory.
Payne and Walen put on a super show for the fans. Side by side all the way around, with Walen inching in front to take the lead. Then Payne would fight back on the low side, but both cars were extremely loose. Walen was finally able to find the bite to make the pass on lap 22, but then bounced it off the main straightaway wall. Payne moved back inside to try and steal the lead back, while Walen worked to keep his car under him. The veteran Walen kept the Dodge under control and retained his lead. Payne fell off the pace severely when he slipped coming out of turn 2. This left the door wide open for Jeff Martin and Mike Tuma.
Martin looked outside of Walen for the final 8 laps of the race, but just could not muster enough horses to get past Walen. Once again, a very fast Mike Tuma sat back in third, waiting for his shot that never transpired. Tuma told Ted and I after the races that he felt he could have won the race if the leaders had not been side by side for so long. In fact, that's the 2nd week in a row that this has happened to Mike Tuma. That is how competitive this division is. Numerous drivers can win on any given night. And last Saturday, it was Mel Walen's night, and Ted, my man, had a chance to shoot the breeze with Mr. Walen.
40 laps of raw energy tonight in the Mack Tools late model division. None more exciting than when Mel Walen was on the outside of Paul Payne. Mel, maybe you could kind of describe it. Looked like both Paul and yourself were a little loose out there. What was going through your mind as you were going for the lead?
I was just hanging tough there. Payne was running real well, so I was hanging on the outside. I didn't think I could stay there that long. I ended up running probably 20 laps out there.
Well, now you did tap the wall coming out of turn 4 there a little bit. What did that do to your car, and how did that impair the remainder of the race for you?
Well, I just gotten by Paul, and I got on it a little too hard, run into the wall a little bit. Took my foot off of it and backed off a little bit. I think I bumped the toe in out. So it wasn't real comfortable after that. It kept me pretty busy.
Hey, you had some good pressure there. Jeff Martin jumped on the outside of you. What was going through your mind to hold him off? The car really seemed loose after hitting the wall.
Yeah, it was pretty loose. I figured, well, I'll just run the best I can, and if Jeff takes it, he takes it. But I ended up coming out on top of it, so I was happy with that.
A lot of the race fans out here, you see a lot of the Chevrolets, you see a couple of Fords. What's it like running a Dodge Avenger out here?
Oh, I don't know if there's any difference. I go with this brand, it's something different.
Well, Mel Walen in the Midwest Data Service Dodge Avenger comes home tops in the group of the Mack Tools late model division.
You know, there should be a whole lot of road between you and your next set of tires. And that's why you should be on the road to Tires Plus for the value-priced Uniroyal Tiger Paw ASC.
Hi, I'm Tom Gigax.
Save this week on the Uniroyal Tiger Paw ASC, the all-season radial tire that works hard for your money. Sure put it, mile after mile.
Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
No warehouse prices. Tires Plus. World-class service. Tires Plus.
I keep my home in top running condition, so I only buy the best.
For your cooling needs, call Gens Ryan Plumbing and Heating, your independent Lennox dealer.
Imagine my surprise when I discovered air conditioners just 8 years old may not be as efficient as newer ones.
Gens Ryan Plumbing and Heating can install a new Lennox unit for you.
So I replaced my old one with a new one from Lennox.
They can help cut cooling bills up to 40%.
Well, my home runs like a finely oiled machine. I've got more of these somewhere.
Lennox, 5,000 independent dealers, 100 years of service. One less thing to worry about.
With all the motor oils on the shelf, how do you know which one to choose? Some people even think they're all the same. Then why do you suppose one brand of motor oil is the #1 choice of America's top mechanics for use in their own cars and trucks? Which brand? Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And for extra engine protection, try Valvoline DuraBlend synthetic blend motor oil.
During the 1995 racing season, Friends United in NASCAR was formed. It's an auxiliary booster club supporting the racing out at Elko Speedway. Let's meet Kelly Kaiser and find out more about F.U.N.
F.U.N is Friends United in NASCAR Elko Speedway Auxiliary, which was started last fall. And we're a nonprofit organization that's been set up to help drivers, pit crew members, and their families in case of disease, disability, injury, or death. It's basically to help the drivers if there's any situation that comes up where they might need some financial assistance, and also a good way to get them to relax, get to know each other a little better, to give the fans a chance to get to know their favorite driver. We're going to be having a riverboat cruise on Friday, July 12th, and the tickets are $30 a piece. We're going to be doing a cruise down the St. Croix, and we're going to have a family picnic out here on the 3rd of August, which I believe is KYM Night at the Races. And at this point, the biggest thing we have going is on Saturday, May 25th. We're teaming up with Missing Children's Minnesota to commemorate the 13th annual National Observation of Missing Children's Day.
Our thanks to Kelly Kaiser and all her efforts in getting the Friends United in NASCAR off the ground and running. They've got some super plans going, and we encourage you folks, when you go out to Elko Speedway, stop by their booth and learn a little bit more about the Friends United in NASCAR. That's F.U.N. And F.U.N. is what was on the menu for Kurt Hoffman last Saturday as he pulled his high-powered sportsman car onto the speedway for his heat race. Like the space shuttle, the 82 car blasted away from the green flag and didn't need his mirror, running away with the heat win. In the second race, Denison's Brad Sanford left the pole with the lead, found a late race challenge from the white 32 Buick of Jeff Partington, but held on for his first win of the season.
Feature race time. 20 cars lined up for the 25-lap main event. And whoa, Nelly! In the middle of the pack, Jeff Partington at number 16, Wild Bill Rohde, bumped and spun out of control on the first lap of the race. Total restart, except for Partington and Rohde, both resuming action from the trunk. Wait a minute, who's that? Number 5. He's Greg Hackala. He's in the Mean Green Machine, stabilizing the lead position by the second lap. And he's wanting to stay there. Close on his heels is the dark blue number 13 Speed Plant of Daren Klegstad creeping up on the outside. By lap 4, Daren was the new leader, and 2 laps later, he had built himself a cozy gap. But this is a 25-lap race, and strange things can happen.
As the laps rolled by, the brightly painted Ford Thunderbird of Rob Too Tall Host was up to second place. Lauren Sherrick, Steve Croyer, Donnie Reavers, and Tom Bovair had picked their way through the ranks and were setting up an exciting second half of action. Just as the cross flags indicating the midway point were displayed by flagman Kenny Wallstad, a couple of cars came to rest between turns 1 and 2. Everyone avoided the stalled duo except the 33 Chevy of Ross Farga, who wasn't looking ahead and plowed into the side of the nicely painted 45 ride of Roger Zemedas. Raj had to shake out some stiffness for a couple of days, and his car will need a good shaking down to get race ready. Double wide restarts in the Gens Ryan Sportsman Division can certainly change the picture. Drivers to clear a lane, and when we went green, Klegstad in 13 and Host in 9 were parked door to door. Rob couldn't find the bite in the outer groove and faded back. Klegstad secured the front with Lauren Sherrick in the white 95 Chevy tucked in right behind.
Fastest car on the track was number 60, Tom Bovair. He slipped past Donnie Reavers in 41 to secure third place with 5 laps left and began to press Sherrick and Klegstad in front of him. Those two were driving great lines around the oval and held their ground as the checkers flew, ending an excellent race for the sportsmen. The Wallman found a beaming Daren Klegstad in the motor pits following the races.
Picking up his second career victory in the Sportsman division tonight is Daren Klegstad in lucky number 13, and obviously that number doesn't have a whole lot of bad news for you.
No, I don't believe in superstition too much. Just gotta go for the win.
Well, you ran very well tonight. You had somewhat of a favorable starting spot, being up in that second row, but you still had to earn your way to the front. How did it unfold for you?
You just kind of stay back and watch it unfold in front of you, watch for the crashes. Luckily, my lane was moving, so I just happened to get around the number 5 car quite easily and worked my way to the front.
Now, in the latter half of the race, you did have a lot of competition from behind. Lawrence Sherrick was back there. Rob Host was back there for a while till he couldn't stick in the outside. But you had some top guns right with you.
Yeah, them guys are all top runners, and they all run top-notch equipment. And I was kind of wondering if I could pull it out or not. And, you know, we had a good setup tonight, and it worked out well for us.
It certainly did. Daren Klegstad picking up the win in night number 2 for the Sportsman division.
Put 700 of the world's most powerful horses together, and what do you get? You get out of the way. The Budweiser Ken Schrader stock car. See you at the races.
With all the motor oils on the shelf, how do you know which one to choose? Some people even think they're all the same. Then why do you suppose one brand of motor oil is the #1 choice of America's top mechanics for use in their own cars and trucks? Which brand? Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And for extra engine protection, try Valvoline DuraBlend Synthetic Blend Motor Oil.
Shake, rattle, and roll this Saturday night. It's high-speed, action-packed NASCAR auto racing excitement. The Thunder rolls every Saturday night at the Midwest Center for Speed, Elko Speedway. 4 exciting divisions: NASCAR late models, sportsmen, Thunder cars, and bombers. Elko Speedway is located just 10 minutes south of Burnsville on Interstate 35. Feel the thunder this Saturday night at Elko Speedway. For ticket information, call the Speedway at 461-RACE.
Opening night 2 weeks ago was a memorable night for Thad Sunsdahl, but probably for the wrong reasons. Thad got caught up in this incident over in turn 2, ending his night as he ended up on the side of his car. A nasty wreck in the heat race. It left him looking for a new car.
Well, we had a car that we built 2 years ago that a friend of mine raced last year. We took that and put a front clip on that and painted it this week, and I'm going to run that for a couple months.
Moving now to last weekend. Heat race action favored those starting up front. Doug Stick Brown left the pole in the first race and stayed ahead of Mike Hellendrung for the duration. In heat number 2, Keith Johnson moved up from the number 4 starting spot to claim his victory in the 10-lap race. Rookie Jason Miles in car number 72 sprinted to the front on the second lap and picked up his first win ever in heat race number 3. And in the 4th and final heat race, Prior Lake's Dwayne Hoffman grabbed an early lead and cruised to the win.
Last season, the Tigers Plus Thundercar division split the field of cars into 2 main feature events. This year, the lineup has been changed to create a more competitive field. The top 4 cars from each heat race earn their way into the single feature event, and a couple of last chance qualifying races are run to fill out the 26-car field. So now you know the rules, okay? All right, in the 20-lap main event, lucky number 7, the white Chevrolet of Mike Hellendrung, pulled to the front. Hellendrung is a rookie this year after finishing 24th in Bomber points last season, while his younger brother John won the Bomber division.
The top 5 opened a gap as Hellendrung was joined by number 80 Randy White, 84 Keith Johnson, 23 Kevin Keno and the 62 ride of Richfield's Kurt Mosier. On lap 5, the old peekaboo came into play as Randy White stole up on the outside and knocked into Hellendrung's door. Mighty Mike hung on to continue the point despite the efforts of Keith Johnson in car number 84 taking a look down low. Persistence paid off for Randy White as on lap 15 he finally wrestled the lead away from Hellendrung. Another flyer roaring into the picture was the 62 car of Kurt Mosier. This lead group of 5 cars began distancing themselves from the rest of the field on lap 5. And now by lap 15, Mosier was in third and zeroing in on his final assault to the front.
He was helped along when the new leader, Randy White, found himself footloose and fancy-free, going a little bit too wide through the turns, allowing both Hellendrung and Kurt Mosier to slip past on the inside. Gordy Mason in number 24 had worked hard to join the lead group, and the top 6 cars headed to the finish in real close quarters. Mike Hellendrung hit the checkers first, making it a great 1-2 night for Mr. Hellendrung. He's standing by now with Ted Osted.
Well, we've heard of John Hell on Wheels Hellendrung. He's moved up to racetrack promoting at Raceway Park, but now his brother, older brother Mike, he takes over the reins as being a hot runner out here at Elko Speedway. And Mike, tonight, kind of a good starting position up front, but you had to hold off some good competition.
Yeah, the competition was real strong tonight. I had Keith Johnson behind me, Kurt Mosier, Kevin Keno, and Conrad Jorgensen was back there, so I knew I had to stay on top of things tonight. If not, they'd get by me fairly easy. So I was fortunate enough to keep ahead of them a little bit, and things worked out.
Opening weekend last week was a little tough on you. This week has to feel a little bit better, but what'd you do to the car? The car seemed to be a lot more stable in the corners.
Actually, last week we had put the car on scales and the weight was off by quite a bit when we rechecked it after the races last week, so the differential of the car was set up quite differently, and the balance from the front end to the right side was off an awful lot, so needless to say, it would have been very difficult to do anything with it last week, but fortunately, with a lot of help from Rob Ostick down at Raceway Park, I'm able to get the car back into the type of condition it was in when Conrad had it last year.
Now, last year you ran in the Bomber division. Do you see a lot of differences between the Bombers and the Thunder cars?
There's quite a difference. The drivers in the Thunder car division know maybe a little more about the cars and pay a little more attention to a lot of the rules, and Kenny at the flag stand, so it's not as rough a driving as you would see in the Bomber division. Plus, the cars do handle quite a bit differently than they do in the Bomber division with the use of sway bars and racing springs and things, so the car does handle quite a bit better.
And it was handling just right for Mike Hellendrung tonight. He takes home the A feature in the Thunder cars.
You want to know the secret to choosing a motor oil? You wait till the sun goes down. You take a ride to your local garage and then get a real close look at what the mechanic puts into his own car. Fact is, more top mechanics in America choose Valvoline over any other brand. Valvoline can help keep cars on the road for 100, 200, 300,000 miles and more. So before you buy a motor oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put into theirs. People who know use Valvoline.
Shake, rattle, and roll this Saturday night. It's high-speed, action-packed NASCAR auto racing excitement. The Thunder rolls every Saturday night at the Midwest Center for Speed, Elko Speedway. 4 exciting divisions: NASCAR late models, sportsmen, Thunder cars, and bombers. Elko Speedway is located just 10 minutes south of Burnsville on Interstate 35. Feel the thunder this Saturday night at Elko Speedway. For ticket information, call the Speedway at 461-RACE.
You know, there should be a whole lot of road between you and your next set of tires. And that's why you should be on the road to Tires Plus for the hard-working Uniroyal Laredo all-season light truck radial tire.
Hi, I'm Tom Gigax.
Save this week on Uniroyal Laredo all-season light truck tires. They claw their way through mud and snow. Sure-footed, mile after mile.
Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
Low warehouse prices. Tires Plus. World-class service. Tires Plus.
A very impressive field of 48 Bob 100 Bombers filled up the motor pits last Saturday night at Elko Speedway, and boy, they came to race. It was absolutely phenomenal to see it because usually the Bombers can be more crash-filled than race-filled, but not last weekend. Mike Schmitz picked up where he left off the prior week, Schmitz put his red 47 in victory lane after heat race number 1. In the second heat race, Rob Koffenberg did a fantastic job of holding back the B-52 bomber of Steve Marshall. The third heat saw Keith Barta lead flag to flag, followed by Wally Cavalli and Tim Shaughnessy. And the final heat race of the night was won by Ken Pearson after he overtook Mark Pollock late in the race.
The non-qualifiers race in the Bomber B feature, and Mike Scooby Chatterton shot out to a huge lead over the field. Chatterton was lapping traffic left and right while Jay Salmon in car 66 chiseled away at the lead. Salmon's time ran out as Chatterton claimed the checkers first. Ted Novak ended up third behind Chatterton and Jay, how about some baked salmon? In the Bomber main event, Mike Schmitz blasted out to the lead with Keith Barta chasing him down. The blue and white number 37 of Ken Pearson was close on the tail of the two leaders, and the trio began to separate themselves from the remainder of the 24-car field. The good doctor, Leon Doherty, bounced his ride off the front straightaway wall a few times, keeping the fans wanting a little bent sheet metal happy. But all in all, the Bombers kept the race very clean and ran caution-free.
Schmitz a little high in the turns, and that opened the door for Keith Barta. He slipped under Schmitz with only 4 laps remaining. Schmitz tried valiantly to try and hold his position on the high side, but Barta's line was perfect for his setup on this night. Keith Barta distanced himself and won, going away. Schmitz hung on for second, followed by Pearson, Rob Koffenberg, and Grant Wascott. Here's your top 5 finishers for last Saturday's Bob 100 Bomber A feature, led by your winner, Keith Barta. And the next 5 are Tim Shaughnessy, Wally Cavalli. I wonder if his wife's name is Molly. Then it could be Wally and Molly Cavalli, by golly. Roger Meyer, Dave Frantic Fronic, and Steve Marshall rounded up the top 10 for the Bombs.
Well, that's the action from last Saturday night. All that action will happen once again this week. It'll be interesting to see if the 00 car of Lauren Petrash, if he'll be able to patch that car back together and get it back out to Elko Speedway for this Saturday night. Josh Vadnais, he was involved in that wreck in the late models also. He should be back. Roger Zamatis in the Sportsman, he was all right, but his car a little bit damaged. Probably take him a couple of weeks to get back out. But we've got a lot more action this Saturday night, Walt.
Yes, we do, Ted. It's a full program of the Winston Racing Series at Elko Speedway. All 4 divisions will be back at it. Also, come on out, folks, and check out the super truck that's going to be there. Apple Valley Ford is bringing in the Butch Miller ride, and it's neat to see that thing because that series, the Super Truck Series by NASCAR, is really growing around the country.
Well, NASCAR is a hot property all the way from the NASCAR Winston Racing Series that you see weekly at Elko Speedway through the Truck Series and on up to Winston Cup. But race fans, it happens every Saturday night out at Elko Speedway. 6:30 the time trials for the NASCAR late models, 7 o'clock the green flag falls. Wally and I will be there, and we will see you at the races.